And with the Supreme Court striking down those tariffs, this could mean changes to our economy. Joining us right now to discuss impacts of this ruling is Department Chair of Logistics and Supply Chain Management at San Jacinto College, Dr. Margaret Kidd. And Dr. Kidd, what does the Supreme Court's decision mean for U.S. trade policy, and why does it matter for consumers?
Well, Cheryl, we continue to have a great deal of uncertainty. We heard earlier today that the Trump administration was going to come back in using a different set of tools to implement tariffs back on the tariffs that were removed earlier today via the Supreme Court ruling.
So how will this ruling affect the price of items on store shelves? Will we see the prices go down, and if so, when?
Well, I don't anticipate prices going down anytime soon because a lot of items that we take for granted, like furniture, steel, automobiles, those are still subject to a Section 232 tariff.
What about items like groceries? Things we enjoy like cheeses, wines, those sorts of things?
I don't see them going down anytime soon. Once this executive action comes into place, there's just so much uncertainty in the trade policy that, it will take time for you to see a de-acceleration of pricing.
Now, what challenges and opportunities does this create for U.S. businesses that had already adjusted their supply chains because of the tariffs?
Well, I go back to what I said previously. There are continued uncertainties in the marketplace. For instance, the refunds. So the Supreme Court didn't address the refunds in its ruling. So that could take years, and there's billions of dollars. In fact, maybe it's close to $200 billion tied up that could be up for grabs if refunds are established. But, it could take months to years for companies to retrieve those funds.
Now, what kind of impact could the ruling have on global supply chains and on U.S. trading partners?
Well, as you're aware, we negotiated a number of trading agreements this last year, and I think there's questions about those agreements even. So we're going into, again, unprecedented territory, using the tariffs that the Trump administration, the reciprocal tariffs that the Trump administration rolled out this last year was also unprecedented. We just haven't seen that in any administration.
You mentioned steel, furniture, those types of things. Are those the industries that are most likely to be impacted by overturning these tariffs, or are there others?
No, the steel and aluminum will continue to have the Section 232 tariffs.
So in terms of supply, what should consumers and small businesses still be on the lookout for in the coming months in terms of fallout from the ruling unfolding?
Well, small and mid-sized businesses are really struggling with this. They don't have the capital to put up the bonds for their imports. They really don't have the bench to pivot, looking for new sources, right? Lower tariff countries. And we've seen this, really hit the furniture sector the hardest in terms of small and mid-sized organizations.
Dr. Kidd, thank you so much for your insight and for answering these questions with us this afternoon. And we look forward to seeing what the outcome is and what happens next.